Hey everybody, welcome into Folklore and Flourish. You're here with Jane and Mark over at Blue Box 29. Today is April 22nd. We are starting week 4 of our season 4. So we're at 4.
Nice.
On 2. Yes. Boom.
Man, I showed up on the right day.
So April is our month of Fae and Hidden Worlds. So it's all about the enchantment, creation, rebirth. It's all about spring, and April specifically is all about the Fae and Hidden Worlds. So today is day 1 of week 4. Week 4 is the return. So in the first week, we were at the doorway kind of going in and out into the other world. But this week, week 4 is all about what you're coming back as, what you're coming back with. So today itself is the coming back. So we start the week 4 of the return with the coming back. And our theme is return from liminality. So we're going to see this through Irish, Japanese, Egyptian, and Mayan folklore today. So we'll see you after these 4 stories. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Story 1, The Fairy Abduction, Return from the Hollow Hills. Within the mist-laced traditions of Irish folklore, tales of fairy abduction emerge as some of the most haunting expressions of liminality, perfectly aligning with the theme of return from liminality and the lesson that one never returns unchanged. Across centuries of oral storytelling, the Ishi, the Fae folk believed to dwell within ancient mounds, ring forts, and hidden hills, are said to exist alongside the human world, separated only by a fragile and shifting veil. These beings, neither wholly benevolent nor entirely malevolent, are known to take humans into their realm, often drawn by beauty, talent, or simple misfortune. Those taken may vanish for what seems like a night, a year, or a lifetime, only to return altered in ways both subtle and profound. In many accounts, time within the fairy realm does not flow as it does in the human world. A person who believes they have spent mere hours dancing in luminous halls may return to find decades have passed, their home changed, their loved ones gone, and their place in the world irrevocably displaced. The experience of abduction is often described as enchanting at first. Music that feels alive, feasts that never diminish, and landscapes that shimmer with unnatural beauty. Yet beneath this allure lies an unsettling truth. The fairy realm is not meant for human souls to inhabit indefinitely. Those who partake too deeply risk losing their connection to the mortal world, becoming bound to the rhythms of the other world. Many stories warn against eating fairy food or accepting gifts, as these acts symbolize consent to remain. Still, there are those who return, sometimes through cleverness, sometimes through the intervention of loved ones, and sometimes by chance. Their return, however, is never a simple restoration. They come back quieter, distant, or marked by knowledge they cannot fully explain, as though a part of them remains in the hollow hills. In certain traditions, rituals were developed to protect against or reverse such abductions. Families might keep watch over newborns, leave iron objects nearby, or perform blessings to guard against the Fae's influence. If a person was believed to have been taken and replaced with a changeling, Community members would attempt to reveal or reverse the exchange through symbolic acts meant to disrupt the illusion. These practices reflect a deep cultural awareness of the threshold between worlds and the vulnerability that accompanies it. The fear was not only of disappearance, but of return without recognition, of coming back changed in a way that cannot be undone. Symbolically, fairy abduction represents the transformative journey through the unknown, where enchantment serves as both invitation and trial. The fairy realm functions as a liminal space in which identity is suspended and reshaped, mirroring human experience of profound change, grief, growth, trauma, or spiritual awakening. To enter such a space is to step outside the familiar structures that define self and belonging. To return is to carry the imprint of that crossing, whether visible or hidden. The altered individual becomes a bridge between worlds, embodying the tension between what was and what has become. Culturally, these stories have endured as both cautionary tales and metaphysic reflections of human vulnerability and resilience. They speak to the deep rooted Irish understanding of place, ancestry, and the unseen forces that coexist with everyday life. The landscape itself, marked by ancient mounds and sacred sites, serves as a living reminder of this layered reality. Through these narratives, communities preserve not only their beliefs, but also their awareness of the delicate balance between respect and intrusion when approaching the unknown. Ultimately, the legend of fairy abduction affirms that return is not a reversal but a transformation. Those who cross into the realm of the Ishi and find their way back to not reclaim their former selves untouched. Instead, they emerge carrying a quiet knowing, shaped by what they have witnessed and endured. In alignment with the theme of April 22nd, this story reveals that to return from liminality is to be remade by it. The journey through enchantment leaves its mark, reminding us that every threshold crossed reshapes the one who steps back through it, forever altered by the unseen. Story 2, Spirit Return, the one who came back changed. Within the quiet, threshold-bound traditions of Japanese folklore, stories of spirits returning to the human world unfold with a subtle and haunting reverence, perfectly aligned with the theme of return from liminality and the lesson that one never returns unchanged. Rooted in both Shinto and Buddhist cosmologies, these narratives often center on individuals who cross into the realm of spirits, whether through death, dream, illness, or divine encounter, and later find their way back to the world of the living. Unlike tales of sudden resurrection, these returns are rarely triumphant or complete. Instead, they are marked by a lingering stillness, as though the returning soul carries traces of another world within them. In many accounts, a person believed to have died or vanished reappears unexpectedly, sometimes days, sometimes years later, bearing a quiet awareness that sets them apart. Their movements may be slower, their gaze distant, and their speech measured, reflecting an internal shift that cannot be easily explained. Japanese folklore often presents these returners not as anomalies, but as individuals who have passed through a necessary transformation. Some stories describe travelers who wander into hidden villages inhabited by spirits or ancestral beings, where time moves differently and the boundaries of life and death blur. Others recount individuals who fall into deep illness or trance, only to awaken with memories of having walked among the dead. In certain Buddhist-influenced tales, a soul may be guided through realms of judgment or reflection before being sent back, tasked with continuing life while carrying the weight of newfound understanding. These experiences are not framed as punishments or rewards, but as encounters with truth, moments where illusion dissolves and the deeper nature of existence is revealed. One recurring motif involves the concept of yurei, spirits of the deceased who linger due to unresolved emotion or unfinished purpose. While many yurei remain bound to the spirit world, some narratives blur the boundary further, depicting individuals who return from near-death states carrying the emotional residue of these spirits. Their presence serves as a reminder that the veil between worlds is permeable, and that the living are not entirely separate from the unseen. In other variations, deities or kami may intervene, allowing a person to return as an act of compassion or necessity. Yet even in these instances, the return is not without cost. The individual must reconcile their place in a world that now feels both familiar and distant. Symbolically, spirit return tales reflect the profound transformation that occurs when one crosses beyond the boundaries of ordinary experience. The liminal space between life and death, or between the human and spiritual realms, acts as a crucible in which identity is reshaped. To return from such a space is to carry an expanded awareness, often accompanied by a sense of detachment from former concerns. This shift mirrors the human experience of profound change, moments of loss, revelation, or awakening that alter perception and redefine one's relationship to the world. The quiet nature of these stories emphasizes that transformation does not always manifest outwardly. It may instead reside in the subtle ways a person moves, speaks, or sees. Culturally, these narratives are deeply intertwined with Japanese attitudes towards impermanence, memory, and the continuity between the living and the dead. Practices such as Obon, a festival honoring ancestral spirits, reflect the belief that those who have passed remain present in unseen ways, guiding and influencing the living. The reverence shown to returners in folklore mirrors this broader cultural understanding, recognizing that those who have crossed the threshold carry a perspective that bridges worlds. Rather than being feared or rejected, they are often treated with quiet respect, their altered state acknowledged as part of a larger spiritual journey. Ultimately, Japanese spirit return tales affirm that the act of coming back is not a restoration of what once was, but an integration of what has been experienced beyond the veil. The returning individual becomes a living testament to the permeability of boundaries and the inevitability of change. In alignment with the theme of April 22nd, these stories reveal that to return from liminality is be forever marked by it, carrying within oneself the echo of another realm. The transformation may be subtle, but it is enduring, shaping perception, presence, and purpose in ways that cannot be undone. Story 3, The Duat Journey, Returning Through the Weighing of the Heart. Within the sacred cosmology of ancient Egypt, the journey through the Duat, the realm of the dead, stands as one of the most profound expressions of liminality and transformation, perfectly aligning with the theme of return from liminality and the lesson that one never returns unchanged. The Duat was not simply a place of finality, but a complex and shifting landscape through which the soul, known as the Ba, traveled after death, navigating trials, gates, and divine encounters before reaching judgment. Preserved in funerary texts such as the Book of the Dead, the Amduat, and the Book of Gates, these journeys were mapped with meticulous care, offering guidance to the deceased as they moved through darkness toward potential rebirth. Yet while these texts primarily describe the passage of the dead, Egyptian myth also contains powerful echoes of return, most notably through the cyclical journey of the sun god Ra, who each night descends into the Duat, confronts the serpent Apophis, and rises again at dawn, renewed yet forever marked by the struggle. This nightly passage of Ra establishes a cosmic pattern. To enter the Duat is to undergo disillusion, confrontation, and transformation, and to emerge is not to revert to a previous state, but to return carrying the imprint of that passage. The same principle applies to human souls who successfully navigate the Duat. At the center of this journey lies the weighing of the heart, a moment of profound judgment overseen by Osiris, Anubis, and Thoth, where the heart of the deceased is measured against the feather of Ma'at. If the heart is found to be light and aligned with Ma'at, the soul is permitted to continue into the fields of reeds, a perfected reflection of earthly life. If not, it is devoured by Amet, and the soul ceases to exist. This moment is not merely a test of morality, but a culmination of transformation, revealing the true nature of the individual after their passage through the unseen. While most souls do not return to the world of the living, Egyptian belief allowed for forms of continued presence and interaction. The Ak, a transfigured and luminous state of the soul, can move between realms, influencing the living and maintaining connection with the material world. Through rituals, offerings, and remembrance, the living sustain this connection, ensuring that the dead remained active participants in the balance of existence. In certain mythic and symbolic interpretations, this movement between realms reflects a form of return, not a physical re-entry into life, but a transformation that allows the soul to exist in both the seen and unseen dimensions. The boundary between worlds, though structured, was never absolute. Symbolically, the journey through the Duat represents the profound transformation that occurs when one confronts the totality of their existence. The descent into darkness mirrors the human experience of facing the unknown, the hidden, and the unresolved aspects of self. The trials encountered along the way, guardians, gates, and challenges, reflect the inner work required to align with truth and balance. To pass through this realm is to be stripped of illusion, leaving only what is essential. The return, whether embodied through the rising sun or the enduring presence of the Akh, signifies the integration of this transformation. What emerges is not the same as what entered. It is refined, clarified, and irrevocably changed. Culturally, the Duat journey held immense significance in Egyptian society, shaping funerary practices, architectural design, and spiritual philosophy. Tombs were constructed as gateways, inscribed with texts and imagery to guide the soul, while daily life was oriented toward living in accordance with Ma'at to ensure a favorable passage. This emphasis on preparation underscores a belief that transformation is not incidental, but intentional, a process that begins in life and culminates in the journey beyond. The enduring legacy of these beliefs reflects a deep understanding of the continuity between life, death, and rebirth, emphasizing that existence is a cycle rather than a linear path. Ultimately, the journey through the Duat affirms that return is inseparable from transformation. Whether through the rising of Ra or the transfiguration of the soul, the act of coming back carries the weight of what has been encountered and overcome. In alignment with the theme of April 22nd, this story reveals that to cross into the unseen is to be reshaped by it, and that any return, literal or symbolic, bears the mark of that passage. The Duat does not simply test the soul, it reveals it, ensuring that what emerges into the light is not unchanged, but awakened, carrying forward the truth discovered in the depths of the unknown. Story 4: The Xibalba Survivors Return from the Lords of Death. Within the sacred narrative of the Kichi Maya, preserved in the Popol Vuh, the journey through Xibalba, the underworld of trial and deception, stands as one of the most vivid expressions of transformation through liminality, perfectly aligned with the theme of return from liminality and the lesson that one never returns unchanged. Xibalba is not merely a place of the dead, but a realm governed by the lords of death, who test those who enter through cunning traps, illusion, and ordeals designed to expose fear, pride, and weakness. The most renowned account of passage through this realm belongs to the hero twins, Hunahpu and Shpalanque, whose descent into Xibalba is both a continuation of their father's unfinished journey and a confrontation with the forces that seek to unmake them. Summoned by the lords after disturbing them with their presence in the mortal world, the twins willingly entered the underworld, not as victims, but as participants in a cosmic trial that will define their transformation. Upon arrival, the twins are immediately subjected to deception. The lords present false thrones, mocking those who cannot distinguish illusion from truth. Yet the twins perceive the trick and refuse to be shamed. They are then sent through a series of deadly houses: the House of Darkness, the House of Cold, the House of Jaguars, the House of Bats, and the House of Blades, each designed to destroy them through fear or force. In each trial, the twins rely not on brute strength, but on awareness, adaptability, and cleverness, transforming the conditions of the test rather than submitting to them. They use light where there is darkness, stillness where there is chaos, and strategy where there is danger. Even when one of them is struck down, most notably when Hunahpu is decapitated in the House of Bats, they do not remain defeated. Through ingenuity and cooperation, they restore what has been lost, continuing forward with the knowledge gained through each encounter. The culmination of their journey comes not through escape, but through transformation. The twins allow themselves to be sacrificed, entering fully into death itself. From this state, they reemerge into altered form, disguised as traveling performers who demonstrate feats of resurrection and illusion. Intrigued, the lords of Xibalba demand to witness this power. In a final act of reversal, the twins perform the ritual upon the lords themselves. But this time, the restoration does not follow. The rulers of Xibalba are undone by their own desire for control, and the balance of power shifts. Through this act, the twins do not simply survive the underworld, they transform it, redefining the terms of passage for those who follow. Symbolically, the journey through Xibalba represents a confrontation with forces that seek to destabilize identity and dissolve certainty. Each trial reflects a dimension of human experience: darkness, fear, aggression, unpredictability, and mortality. The twins' success lies not in avoiding these forces, but in engaging them with awareness and adaptability, demonstrating that survival within liminal space requires transformation rather than resistance alone. Their death and return illustrate a deeper truth. To emerge from such a journey is to relinquish the former self and integrate the knowledge gained through ordeal. The return is not a restoration of what was, but the emergence of something fundamentally altered, capable of navigating both worlds. Culturally, the story of the hero twins holds central significance within Maya cosmology, illustrating themes of balance, duality, and the cyclical nature of life and death. Their transformation into celestial bodies, the sun and the moon in some interpretations, extends their return beyond the personal into the cosmic, embedding their journey within the ongoing rhythm of existence. The Popol Vuh preserves this narrative not only as myth but as reflection of the Maya understanding of resilience, intelligence, and the necessity of transformation in the face of adversity. The trials of Xibalba serve as both caution and guidance, emphasizing that the path through darkness is navigable, though never without cost. Ultimately, the story of the Xibalba survivors affirms that the act of coming back is inseparable from the trials endured along the way. The hero twins do not return as they entered. They emerge carrying the imprint of every test, every loss, and every adaptation. In alignment with the theme of April 22nd, this narrative reveals that return from liminality is a process of becoming, shaped by the passage through the unknown. The underworld does not simply challenge those who enter, it remakes them, ensuring that what returns carries the depth, awareness, and transformation forged in its shadow. Through this journey, the boundary between worlds is not erased, but understood, allowing the transformed to walk between them with clarity and purpose. Hey everybody, welcome back in to Folklore and Flourish. You're here with Jane and Mark over at Blue Box 29. Today we started off our fourth and final week of April with the return, and today's topic is the coming back. So we're coming back from the Fae and Hidden Realms. We saw that through 4 stories today. We've kind of seen all 4 of these spirit realms before. So we're going to kind of do a little bit of a different podcast today.
Okay.
Kind of ask some different questions about all 4, and you could answer however you'd like to.
Okay.
So rather than going through each story individually, I kind of just wanted to try something a
Okay.
bit different today. But you don't have a choice because it's my show, so.
And I got roped into this. Actually, I said I would like to come and record with you today because, it's my Friday. So I know you guys are getting this a little late today. So it is because of me. But thank you for doing that. But I had a point about it. Oh, well.
But you wanted to come in and do the show today.
Yeah, well, I mean, energetically, it's definitely for a reason. Like with all the 4s, the 2s, all that. Obviously, that I am really coming into something lately. So, like whatever's going on with me energetically, it made me want to come back
It's
today.
almost like
So,
something's coming back to you.
right, for sure.
Kind of part of the
Like remembering something that I don't even know I had, but like I was telling you with my palm thing that I had going on and stuff. It's just it's really happening right now. So it's exciting.
So you're coming back to whatever you were meant to do.
Yeah, for sure.
The lesson, though, is that you never return unchanged. You never return unchanged. You know, I think one of my favorite stories about returning to something
Hmm.
is when it's the Lord of the Rings, when Bilbo returns home. Or not Bilbo, Frodo returns home. And at the very end, when he leaves with the elves and he says, we did leave to save the Shire. We didn't save it for me. Like, it kind of made me think that sometimes we return and it's, no longer a place that welcomes us or that can hold us. So what do you think about that? I mean, you've been feeling a lot of discomfort. Just the past couple of days, the discomfort's definitely come up more about being in a place where we are limited a lot here.
Right. Yeah.
So what do you think about that? You're coming into this new reality where you're doing the QHHT and working with that, but you're in a place where
I just think energetically, my body, my soul needs to be somewhere else. Now, it doesn't mean that there's not people here that I can't help and I shouldn't be, and I will be, you know, but I'm just feeling that pull. And I think it would be a disservice to me and whoever else in the universe if I didn't follow through with that because I'm feeling it for a reason. Like when you feel something, there's a reason you're feeling it. There truly is. If you want to stay in the flow in your path, if you want to have a harder life, then don't follow. And that's one thing that I was actually saying. I don't remember if I was saying it to you or somebody else, but I just, it was at work. So I was supposed to be on a different timeline. My timeline was 2 years, but then it could have been a year to a year and a half. And then I was doing something new. Obviously, it's not there because I'm at 2 years right now. Like this next week, I believe it's two
Mm,
years. And then the better number was 1.5. Now, I didn't stay where my feet were enough because I knew that. Now that can play into a whole different thing. Like once
mm,
you find out what your destiny is or whatever, you can mess it up because one, you might think, oh, now it's just going to happen. No, you still got to do the work. But doing the work means you got to be where your feet are. So if in these moments I don't do what I need to do in these moments, that one isn't ever going to happen. So that's also with the coming home. Like, yeah, I feel like, or whatever, like you asked, like just that separation. It's like I feel it, but it's just not quite time. But it's right there, and I can feel it. My body feels it. But I think it feels it more of it feels the preparation to be ready because I don't think it wants to leave and then get doing what it's doing right now. I think it wants to get ready, be in its power, then go. So then whatever else is out there, it'll take it to a whole new level. Does that make sense?
yeah, so then thinking about the Irish other worlds, so, like,
Hmm.
the Fae realm, I mean, that's our big main
Right.
focus for this whole month. Um, but being enchanted, let's say that it's instead of an enchantment that leads us to stray for days, months, years, whatever it may be,
Hmm.
it's passion. So maybe it's that passion of our new job, our new whatever we're pursuing as individuals. How do we do that and not be stuck like people that come back, people that return from the ferry abductions with all this missing time and the people that were part of their life almost being detached from them now because they were so engulfed in that? Well, how do we make sure that that doesn't happen?
We don't. That's a
Okay.
great question. And the reason why I say we don't is because when you're growing, you are going to lose people no matter what. They're going to leave because you're going to go in a different direction vibrationally. This journey is about you and yourself only and no one else. It's only about what you love and what you want. And if that you want is with someone else, then now that person is going to be there. So it's not a you are always alone. Then you get to choose that to do something together, right? But no matter what, at the end of the day, you're always choosing, you should always be choosing yourself. And in doing so, you're choosing your partner or whoever it is. But I think that's a big thing we need to make sure we do is choose ourselves because if we're really, really selfish people, we're going to be super happy because we're not going to allow somebody to do something that we don't agree with. Or if they do, it's like, okay, let's talk about this because this is a boundary of mine and I don't like it. And then once you start aligning that and you start expressing, hey, I this is what I do and don't like, you get on these same wavelengths and you're able to be more copacetic, and just, I think vibrationally, when you're on those same wavelengths, it's like listening to music. If I got headphones in and I'm playing the drums, but you don't have headphones on and you're match me with the guitar, I don't know that you're matching me, but you can match me, right? and I'm just sitting there doing my thing. I have no clue what's going on over there. But you're making beautiful music because you're playing to what I'm already doing. It's kind of the same thing.
Okay. So then part of that, we see it with a bunch of different aspects, but the Japanese one being like still being interactive when we're on the other side, whether we pass on or spirits on the other side, whatever it may be. I think a lot of the time we go, well, would we? You know, if we're sad or if we're angry, yeah, we become ghosts, some people believe. But is it less of like a would we rather than a can we? Because isn't that thing interacting
I didn't even
no
answer the
longer?
question.
But that's what I'm saying because you're going it's going with what you said. Like, if we do move forward with our people, whether we move forward first and then they join us, we meet them along the way, whatever. When we're already on this new path, this new reality, instead of it being, would we come back, isn't it more of a, could we come back? Because in
That
all reality, we're no longer that person that. So, what do you think about that?
exactly. So for one, I feel like I didn't even finish my question. So thank you for or answer. So thank you for following through with it. So with following up with what I had said, with the meeting up vibrationally and stuff. So you turn into that new person to where you don't even see or sometimes remember the other stuff. You might like have
Mm.
distant memory of it, but you won't even see it. And like right now, we're at the point where, yeah, we can see it. But I truly am starting to believe in this whole new earth thing where we're all together. We're all seeing the same stuff, but it's getting worse, right? Things are just getting way weird. Like they're blatant, like NASA's blatantly showing us we're going to outer space, but yet there's like insane things like there. I watched a video today and the dude's like, okay, so I mean, I don't like to make these videos, but like here it is. And he's like showing all the crazy bloopers that NASA missed.
Oh, yeah. I've
Like,
seen some of
dude,
those.
like on the rappelly thing, the thing that makes them look like they're floating. One guy was doing a card trick and he dropped it and the card falls.
Oh,
That
yeah,
can't happen in
where
outer.
anti-gravity stuff.
Yeah, so the card just
Yeah,
falls. But
but
I mean, if
everything else
you're
is floating.
everything else was floating, yes.
Yeah.
And then one guy was supposed to be grabbing something from another guy and then putting it away, but nothing was exchanged ever. It was just him going like this.
Gosh.
And then just the blue screen, like all of a sudden all these numbers start coming across it and stuff. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious.
So is it, I guess, what
But
to say?
so like I got off subject, but so when we go into these new spaces or old ones, so we go into the fairy realm and we have this experience. We're upgrading. We're no longer seeing that old space. So when we go back to the old space, it's the same, but it's not. You know, there's going to be new faces there because there should be. Just like what we're trying to do here, we're trying to change the energy and make it so there's new
But it could
faces.
be the exact same energy. We come back with different energy, and we get to almost relearn a place that we used to know so well
Mm,
with that new upgrade.
right.
Okay, now how do I manipulate the game with this? So, I was kind of thinking as you were going and talking about the space stuff, it seems like the more people, there's a lot of two sides. You're seeing a lot of stuff today,
Hmm.
right? And the two sides I'm talking about are the people that are continuing to, because we've kind of started to check out more and more out of social medias, out of our phones. I mean, we were already doing it before we met, and then now, I mean, we do this stuff and that's it. We aren't
Yeah,
actually.
I have to force myself to really get on it and do stuff, and I have to do it with purpose. And I find if I am aimlessly scrolling for zero reason, I get kind of upset with myself. I'm like,
So that's
stop.
what so part of that I think is like how you're saying, like people are debunking and the lack of trust because people are blasting it right away because people should know if others are doing wrong or if there's a danger or whatever it may
Hmm.
be. So people are posting about it and people are sharing the darker parts because a lot of trust is gone, a lot of fear, is out
Hmm.
there. So we see a lot of that. It's getting crazy, it's getting worse. But then you see the flip side. So I've seen it with some people that I'm starting to like really try to connect with, like The social media I'm looking at is the people that have flipped it and they're homesteading now. They've completely transitioned. Hey, we were already kind of getting off social media, then we decided we're done. And all we do is make these videos to help other people get there.
Mhm.
And so those are people I'm kind of trying to
I
connect with
like that. That's
because,
cool.
yeah, and that's where I see like how to take that plant out. I'm
Mm,
following like a lot of people that do different kinds of plants, like different specialties. You see the animal stuff I've
mhm,
been looking into. But it seems like the more techy, the less happy,
mhm.
and the less connected to everyone, the more connected we are to like the things that actually matter.
Man, it's funny you say it like that because that's what I've been thinking about, like, a lot lately. For whatever reason, that thought has been in my head, and I'll see stuff, and I'm like, "Man, I really like my things," right? I like my nice truck, I like my motorcycle, I
Mm.
want a nice boat, a nice house, but then I'm like, when I start thinking about it and I'm looking at these super nice houses, I just find myself torn. That's odd because I need to have a space to be able to help people, or do I? You know? Like, do I really? No, I don't, because I can go to them. It would be more convenient for people to be able to just find me and come to me maybe,
Well,
but there's just different options. So it's like my thing is like I just need to get to a place, and I feel like that's what it is more than anything, to where my energy can calm down in that space,
mhm.
because where it's at now, it's like, no, you just need to get out of everything and just leave it.
And I think a big part of the struggle with us here is that, yes, we can grow stuff here, but it's very limited in the
Yeah, very short time
ecosystem
in
we
what we
live.
want.
Yeah, I mean, it snowed yesterday.
Yeah, last night,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we still are having snow. I mean, and yeah, it snows later in the year in a lot of places, but when we only have 3 to 4 months really of warm,
Yeah, and
that's
it could
n
snow within that.
yeah, that's not a lot of time, and so we have that aspect, but then the second one is and, like, enjoy where your feet are at now. Thinking about, "Oh, we do need a bigger place to invite people over." But that's kinda what I was telling you about the gardening stuff. I don't
Yeah.
wanna jump in on this huge farm because I know what I'm gonna do is have high expectations for myself,
Mhm.
get upset because I'm gonna be burnt out quick.
Yeah.
I need there something, something. So I said I wanted to start out small. So I
Mhm.
got that whole year planned, so if we got more animals. It took an entire year of getting it ready, so it wasn't a spur of the moment thing. But just turning the backyard, like the vegetation, the gardens and stuff, the best that we can with what we can here, that could be a space that you work with people. I mean, imagine being on a hammock outside and you're doing that with someone like in
Right.
that secret garden area. So there are other ways we could do it. But yeah, I hope that some of that's hitting your page because I've had a lot more QHHT hitting my stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like the growing your own food, which I'm excited. The animals I think we're fine with
Mhm.
because the animals we want, or I specifically want, I've raised those animals before. Go ahead. With story 3 and 4, so in the Dua and Shibalba, people are going through trials.
Mhm.
Okay, so we go through trials, we go through these tests. It's kind of interesting that it really doesn't matter how strong you are or how fast you are, your physical capabilities necessarily. We see people using their cunning. So again, it doesn't matter about anything else. Your title, your strength, your position. It's what can you do?
Yeah.
What can you do when there's not someone holding your hand? And then the second one, we have the twins. They're working together as a team, but they're, I mean, I think part of the significance is that they're twins, right?
Mm.
So they're a hugely close team.
Right.
It's not we need this one person to get through it, or I have to have your permission to do this. This is kind of just you either have what it takes or you don't. And so the other world, it's interesting because it's just giving you your last chance to get to heaven potentially, giving your final these are the things you need to confront within yourself, you know? Because when it's heaven, it's just you either have it or you don't. You either believe or you don't.
Right.
and that's it. You don't have any more tests. That's it. Where it seems like the other world is a form of testing us when we're at a threshold, when we're stuck, I think.
Mm,
I think that's what this feeling is a lot of the time, the coming back changed, right? So not feeling comfortable in the same place anymore, feeling that urge to get out. I mean, like every 3 to 4 years, I usually move,
yeah.
like out of a town.
Mhm.
Like that's how consistent it's been the last, what, since I graduated, so like 12 years,
Mhm.
11, 12 years. But it's because there just comes a certain point where we need to move for our upgraded selves to get the new lessons we need or whatever it
Yep.
may be. And I'm just feeling like everything's pushing us there.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it's exciting to think of the earth and coming back to that,
Right.
coming back to growth and to life and to actually working, you know. And they saw that, I don't know if it was you or I can't remember, but someone sent me a video and they were saying how, like, actually putting her hands in the dirt, the soil, and there she's planting and doing all this stuff, how that's
Mhm.
actually gives your body the same chemical reaction as antidepressants do, like certain
Wow,
forms of
that's
antidepressants.
awesome.
When you're actually physically, like, planting, doing that stuff,
Y
that
You're
good
just
stuff.
getting totally charged,
Mhm.
and I could only imagine if you're doing it, like, in those barefoot shoes, to where you're not getting totally messed up, but, it would be best if you could get to a point where you're just not wearing shoes,
Yeah, and
at
that's why I wanna
all.
work in our yard because I want to walk in the yard and
Yeah,
never
I
have
got
shoes on.
get rid of all those rocks and all that stuff and put in some good dirt and some grass, and yeah, me too. Like, 1,000,000%. I
Mhm.
love having grass, and that's probably one reason why I've been all kinda depresso espresso is, like, just that yard is just, like until we get it, because we're doing changes.
But those with all 4 of those stories, we see, like, there are a lot of factors that we care about on this realm, right? But it really is, how can you behave during these circumstances?
Mm,
What are you gonna do when you are being tested? Who are you when everything is at the extreme, right? And so that can also be hard though. But we've come back, and sometimes that in itself is hard when we don't live up to the expectations we had for ourselves. Sometimes that is the biggest lesson we come back with, is that we didn't have what it takes at that point.
Believe me, I'm bummed out that my 2 years is here and I'm not somewhere else, like, or further
I
along.
know, and I wonder if that's, some of the anger and discomfort that's come up a lot more.
Probably. I could foresee that.
So is that
Would
because
make
you had
sense.
just those high expectations and you feel like
I just thought something else was gonna make it happen, and I realized it was me that needed to make it happen, and I didn't. So it's not really like even it's just coming into the realization of what was actually going on or what needed to happen. I thought it was an outside source that was going to make it happen, whereas it needed to be me that made
well,
it
it was
happen.
an outside source,
Well, no.
but it was the QHHT Dolores Cannon
Yeah, I just didn't see it
hitting
yet.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because I really look back throughout my timeline and looking at the timeline of like her and stuff and when things were going on. And it's like, wow, like she was in Chicago probably when I was really close to being in Chicago or could have been doing
Mhm.
those things. Like all these things were happening or I was in between jobs or moving to somewhere doing something right around the time somebody else was doing something with that. And it's like, holy cow. I was so close energetically. It was just not I was just not with the right people to say the right thing to trigger me for it. No, I was really close with some people looking back at it, but I just didn't choose, wasn't open enough for it. Wasn't ready for whatever reason. And I would guess it's just mainly because it wasn't supposed to be. Because had I really opened up back then, I more than likely probably would have never met you, or at least not in the way that we did.
Well, so that just kinda leads to the sometimes we come back with that realization that we weren't ready, but then we find out that that's because it wasn't even our path or because we wouldn't have been successful yet.
Or sometimes you just need to hear something to start that fire,
Right.
to start the path. Like maybe it was more or less not so much that that's when it was going to happen, but it could happen within that time if you do what you're supposed to do. And that's the biggest thing. And that's what I'm taking away from it is had I taken a little more steps or a few more steps sooner, differently, not really rested so much within what I thought and waited and tried more different things. And there's stuff, it's more personal. And I know I'm making this vague. I know what the answers are in my
Right.
head. There was things I could have done, I believe. But I'm okay with the fact that I didn't do it because then I wouldn't be okay with sitting here. I have to be okay with it so then I can be here and then I can be okay with doing the next thing that will put me in that position.
Well, why not be okay with it? Because
Mm,
unfortunately, like, there's
You have to be,
yeah,
right? Why would anybody
like, you
or why
don't have
do
to be,
we
you can sit there and be upset about
and
it.
why but that's the thing is like once we get there, you be upset about it for a little bit, but why do we sit there and like just really think about stuff for way too long? And I heard something one time and I loved it and I do quote it quite a bit, but people with depression, they live in the past and they think about the past. People with anxiety, they're thinking about the future. And I use that a lot, the anxiety thing. I use that a lot with people where I work at. I'm like, you're thinking about things that are not happening, that aren't going to happen more than likely, and you're just making it up in your head. So why don't we just stop and not think about that? And when I just say it like that, just nonchalant, people will be like, oh, yeah, you know, you're right. Whether or not that really registers or if they're just like, okay, I'm not going to get anywhere, um, I think it helps. I really do because quit thinking about something that probably isn't even going to happen. Live right now and it'll be way better.
So with all of that today, the question that we can kind of leave thinking about is what altered me unseen? So kind of like what you were just talking about, all those could have, shoulda, wouldas, but didn't they all alter? If all that energy is moving, if every single thing led us to where we are, didn't all those unseen coincidences matter?
100%.
Right? So that's kind of what we're thinking about today is, man, what are some things that I just really didn't take into effect because I thought it was a coincidence or I thought, what are the chances, the odds? Because you are the one, like you are the odd that it
Hmm.
happened to.
Yeah.
It wasn't oh, well, it didn't happen. It almost happened. Yeah, but that almost happening is what was intended.
Yeah.
Because what did that kickstart,
Hmm.
unbeknownst to you?
Right.
And so we're going to think about that today. And then our activity for today is that we're going to open a window and we're just going to let the air, the fresh air, take over the space.
Well, that's super cool that I actually unintentionally already did that just before we even started recording. And then I said, hey, let's make sure we shut it before we start recording so
Right.
we don't get the
Because
whatever.
Utah's
But
barking like a
yeah,
rooster.
and he's doing it now. I'm sure if whether or not you can hear it. But yeah, that's kind of cool. I
Yeah.
love that
So
things line up like that.
I usually open this window
Oh man,
too.
isn't it great though? I love getting that fresh air. And if you don't do it often or if you don't live somewhere with fresh air, try to escape to somewhere with some fresh air because it is amazing.
I feel like the air has gotten better in this house, and maybe that's just
All the
silly and in my
plants,
head,
I
because
don't know, plants give off more oxygen, right?
right.
That's what they do. So there's definitely got to be more air because there was zero plants and now there's a whole bunch of plants.
I think it's also I don't know,
Energy wise,
I've
too.
become more excited
Mm,
about having, like, these things and, like, being successful with it. Like, the
yeah.
ones that I didn't think any of the spider plants were gonna make it. The
And that
fact that
thing
this
is,
one just was like, cause I went, "It's gonna do it." Like, it finally took off when you moved it, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna just move you one more time." And so it just makes me happy. Like that monstera plant, I've never had a plant that big,
that thing is
ever.
huge.
It's huge. And I've never had something where you've had to build this things for it to climb on.
Yeah.
And so that was difficult. And it definitely was new, but it made me so excited,
Yeah.
to be able to do it
Those new challenges, you know?
and to now I get to wait and see if did I do it correctly or is it what signs are gonna give is it gonna give
Yeah,
me?
that plant will talk to you. And
Mhm.
that's the thing is, like, I watched a documentary
Well,
on
like that
plants,
one
and
that moved, the day I moved it up there, it
it just
changed
went
its direction, yeah, and
yeah.
opened
It's
flowers.
like, "Okay, thank you so much." And that's the thing is plants will talk to you. If you're not a plant person, I'm really becoming one,
Is that the
obviously, thank you.
documentary you were about to talk about?
Well, that is part of it. I mean, man, it is so crazy that, like, within this, so what she's saying is the documentary, I've seen a few, but one, they were, like, clipping these things that register electrical current. Plants have an electrical current. They also have a vibration. That vibration, they turned it to where it went into an amplifier that had a speaker and it just makes sound. And then they hooked it to all the plants and they're just singing to each other. It's so cool because they're just this vibration's going back and forth. All these plants are consciously talking to each other. So when you're getting all this life and you're putting it into here, of course it's going to feel better. This space is going to feel so much more alive because there's life. There's that energy. The only thing that I really think we need to start doing, honestly, and I keep getting these, the biggest reason is why is because I keep getting these things of people talking about it. So I'm like, it's got to be a message. Like we got told, we're going to get messages all over the place, right?
Mhm.
Is the 5D network, all the Wi Fi stuff is energetically messing with our natural ability to interact with the natural world. So I honestly have been thinking about maybe unplugging the Wi-Fi while we're not using it, or getting things to wear that block that stuff.
Mhm.
Somebody introduced me to something today that actually it's a pendant that you can wear that blocks that
I've seen
stuff.
people with that kind of stuff
Mhm.
before. Yeah, okay, so the pendants, certain things that you can put on. I think I've seen some bracelets or anklets even
There's all
too.
kinds of stuff.
But it's like a self-preservation of your own energy. It's almost like putting
Mhm.
on a cloak over your energy field
Yes.
without blocking yours from extending. All it does is filter what comes in. So isn't
It's
that like a
blocking the
cell?
unnatural. Yes, it's blocking the unnatural energies. That's what it's really
So someone
blocking.
just utilized how to use a cell wall or the cell membrane,
Yeah, pretty much.
but on the outside of our bodies. That's interesting. That's really cool.
And it's just a natural protection. Obviously, you have to have both, right? If we're going to have something that's negative in our body, why can't we have something positive? Oh, we can because we have to. That's the way our reality works.
Right.
You're always going to have the positive and the negative. Everything is a battery.
Mhm.
There's always two sides to a coin, you know?
Yeah, and just kind of I think learning as we go has been something really fun.
Oh,
Because I
man.
was getting plants, the spider plants were taking off in my old place before we came. And my old place, I mean, it had that perfect window.
Yeah.
It just lit up that whole room. So I was
Yeah.
having like a bunch of babies sprouting all the time. There are several rooms like the curtains were taken out in here just completely because I was like, no,
No.
they need light. But now we get to try new things, like how happy you are when you're doing the plants at all, not
Mhm.
having any. And like the succulents and the cacti, you successfully helped bring several back to life. I had never successfully kept one alive. My last one died, like, right before I moved in, right? Because
Mhm.
I forgot it at my old place. This is what I mean. I don't know why the cacti just get me. But anyways, RIP. But you get to try that, and then I was showing you today that those herbs, yeah, one of them is still really struggling, but the other ones are finally pushing out that final excess of, like.
And that's why I really wanna do that copper wire that I was saying. I really think, I truly believe that that is going to make a
Yeah, and I can
huge
unwind
difference.
some more today,
Yeah.
cut it, and then we can just cut little strips even and just boom, boom,
Yeah, then
boom.
that's all we need to do is strip them and then just off one, just run it down.
Mhm.
That's all we gotta do.
Ooh, so we'll do that today, enjoy the fresh air as well, because the plants do too.
Mhm.
I saw that guy that I show you that's turned his own indoor like, he's turned his house into an indoor jungle pretty much,
That's
and
cool.
he got posted about and talked about for doing that. Like, I think he retired or quit his job and decided, mental health whatever it may be, growing, doing something that actually brought joy. He's doing this, but one of his videos, he's talking about how like people swerving around and like trying to avoid touching them. And he's just like walking through because he's like, they can handle it. Like these big plants, he's like, I'm not destroying them or anything, but don't protect them from the natural flow of the environment.
Yeah.
You are doing a disservice to them. They are living beings or living things. You're disservicing them by treating them like something that doesn't want to be touched.
Yeah.
He said that's
Oh,
one of the biggest lies is plants not wanting to be touched. There's like this big jungle and you just see him flopping around. You know, I've shown you the videos. He's not harming them, but I would say that not a single one of his plants look unhappy.
yeah.
You know, they're big, they're luscious, they're thriving.
Mhm.
They're accustomed to his personality. And so I think that that's a big thing too is plants also are a living thing that
Mhm.
acknowledges whether we are good owners for it or not.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
And they want to be a part of it. And so that's exciting too. So we're gonna just a last little thought I had because it made me happy when I saw that today. But we're gonna open the window, get some fresh air for Molly.
she's like, it's been
Yeah. And then we're gonna accept that inner change does not require explanation to be real. So we don't have to explain ourselves or prove all the time that we've changed
right.
or anything to anyone else. Right? Because the people that truly are there for us, like you said, they will acknowledge the change because
Right.
they're probably in the same place. They're either changing or, you know, we're about to step away if we didn't. So
Yeah.
that's something too. But, anyways, that was our first day of the final week of April with the coming back. So we are on the week of the return from Fae and Hidden Worlds. And tomorrow we get into the seeing. So our second sight on the return.
Mhm.
So, like I said, it's not just about coming home and, oh, I'm a little bit different or anything. It's what are we coming back with?
Right.
What are we different? In
Mhm.
like what realms are we different versus what realms are we lacking
Yeah.
that we're coming back and we got some things to fix
Right.
too. So we see that as well. Sometimes we need help. Sometimes we need that change of perspective of realizing, oh, it is on us,
Right.
you know, but it also does get influenced by others, like you said.
Mm.
How would you have ever realized that?
Yeah.
But with that today, that's all I have. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Next time, bring donuts. I will settle for nothing less.